War. War's a beast to tell. It's a daunting alley you don't want to walk down. You don't want to walk down, but you know you still have to walk down. Because in that alley there's someone innocent, and they can't defend themselves. So if you have the means, you will walk down that alley, and you'll defend the innocent. Since the beginning of time, war has riddled the world, whether it be tribal, religious, cultural, over land, dispute, family, whether it's rape, pillage, or murder. War is an essence of human existence, and currently we're wrapped in it. When I was a child, I was, I think, 12. September 11th, we just had that recently. You know, that messed me up, 7th grade. Miss Coates' class, I was in English class, you know, Channel 1 News, I think we had. You know, you looked up and there was buildings on fire. And as a child, you know, you're just like in awe. Wow, buildings are on fire. And then they fell. You know, whoa. You know, as a kid, you don't really understand that. But now I do. 25 of my friends ultimately gave the sacrifice. 250 of us left the battlefield, wounded. We neutralized more enemy than I can count. War is real, whether you want it to be or not. Whether it's just, whether it's morally sound, it's happening. And it's happening all around us. Always. So you can choose a side, you can choose to hide. But men like me were boys when we fought. Welcome to my brother's bus. So, my PTSD has led me here. This is a 1984 short bus. I picked it up in Lebanon, Indiana, from a Vietnam veteran. The gentleman was an Agent Orange veteran. So in Vietnam, they sprayed Agent Orange all over things, and anywhere basically that this chemical touched people, these veterans, they have no hair and they have cancerous. Got it back here to my home, and man, he had some carpet down and a floor down, but I threw in a bed with storage, brought in a couch in here, a chair in here, brought a fridge in, got the electrical ran, have a microwave, I have a portable toilet, and some dry storage for, you know, pantry status. But yeah, this thing is, I'm going to throw a nice water bed up there, up top. I got it hooked up for water bed. I'll maybe update this to a futon style, and that one to a thicker cushion, possibly some hammocks up here. But yeah, this is my brother's bus. It's a first leg in the door to a nonprofit that I'm going to kick up. And the premise behind this nonprofit is going to be getting buses like this and putting them in the hands of veterans like myself that have PTSD, that, you know, they're not antisocial, they're not anti-society. We're just hyperactive mindsets that can't pay attention to one mundane task at a time. So while I'm thinking of 15 things, you know, I just can't be flipping burgers at Burger King. I'm not going to be happy, and I'm not going to be able to contain myself. You know, most veterans are the same way. You went from being an 18, 19 to 22-year-old boy in charge of lives and millions of dollars of equipment. At one point in time, I was 22 years old, and I was in charge of 2 Sabre missiles, 4 50 cals, 4 Mark 19s. I had a couple 240s, all of our small arms, all of our ammunitions, all of our missiles. A Sabre missile, one missile is like $70,000. I had like 16 at a time. You know what I mean? Like, 22-year-old me was in charge of millions of dollars of governmental property. And now that I'm out of the military, I can't even get a managerial position at Ponderosa because they don't think I have experience. So imagine the mindset of a man like myself and woman. I mean, there are many ladies out there that have served their country honorably and greatly and nobly and are in the same standpoint that many of the males are. There just happens to be a rapid amount of, obviously, males that are in a combat environment. it's crazy that we can be in charge and be held responsible for such an insurmountable amount of equipment. Yet when you get into the civilian world, I mean, you're on ground level. You start at zero. What are you supposed to do? So I built a bus, and I'm going to start my own company called My Brother's Bus. This bus, I think, rightfully should be named Milo, about my confidant that ultimately killed himself last year. He suffered from PTSD. He was blown up like myself, left the battlefield like myself, witnessed a few Marines, ultimately give the sacrifice like myself, and he had to engage the enemy and neutralize the enemy like myself. And, he had many demons. Well, Milo was at University of Santa Barbara and had a post-traumatic stress disorder episode and was kicked out of his student housing, and he went to live with his cousin, and a downward spiral of drinking and not being able to, get the help that he needed. He ended up striking his cousin, assaulting an officer, and found himself in solitary confinement for 11 months. And once he got out, I obviously, Milo being my good friend, I didn't know where he went. And 11 months of not knowing where somebody is, there was many Marines looking for him, and we finally found him when he was released, obviously, because the information was confidential. But once he was released, it became public and popped up on our daily searches. Found him. Milo's been in this institution the whole time. So we all flew out to find him. Milo, what's going on? How did this happen? What's going on, man? And he broke it down. And it's like if you had to start over and you only had one shot at it, and you had to start completely over from scratch. What would be the necessities of life? What would you do?
Would you do it all again?
In a heartbeat.